before he even played an NFL snap.
Yeah.
I said he was going to be an absolute stud, and I said he'd be better than Jared Goff.
Well, I think
I never said Jared Goff would be bad. I thought he would also be good in his own right.
Wentz was really good when he started,
He was.
and
And
he
then
got hurt, and I think that
I think it
really,
was that ACL injury
yeah,
that
I
did
think
it.
it was ACL, and I think he got hurt on a quarterback sneak too, didn't he?
Something like that. Yeah.
Just a real odd situation.
Ironically enough, against the Rams too in that 2017 season.
Yeah, but I mean, he was doing really good, and then he got hurt, and it just kind of it wasn't the same Carson Wentz
Mm-mm.
that we had seen previously. I don't even know, is he on anybody's roster now?
He's on the Rams roster as a backup.
Is he?
Hmm
Huh. So that's interesting. They got him,
I
and they
think he'll
had
be. I think he'll be a free agent.
they got
Upcoming.
so they have him and Golf. That was the 1 and 2 picks that year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Huh. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's NFL preview and review day. We're on the skeleton crew today, so you're gonna have to deal with me and Eli. Brennan and Colby are supposed to be on their way, so we'll see if they make it in time. So me and Eli were talking about Carson Wentz and Jared Goff. I believe they were the 1 and 2, correct?
In that 2016 draft. Yep.
Yep, they both ended, and now we think they're both with the Rams. We discussed how Wentz started off really good.
Oh, Goff is on the Lions
Oh
now.
yeah, and Goff was on the line, so yeah. And he did really well, I think, with the Lions. I think he had a great
Mhm.
run with the Rams, but I think he's been a good fit so far for what the Lions are looking for.
Yeah, he brought that team to the NFC Championship game. I mean, you can't really ask for too much more.
No, not with the
Not with
line
that
squads
team.
that we've seen. So very good for him. And just sticking on that trade for a minute, I think the Rams got what they wanted. They got their championship when they brought in Stafford. He's kind of been banged up a little bit. And interesting, I don't think he was banged up a lot in Detroit, but it seems to be over these last couple seasons, it's starting to accumulate and start to add up.
Mainly an age thing, if I had to guess. I mean,
Yeah,
he suffered through a few injuries throughout his tenure in Detroit. I mean, primarily I think of that one game against the Cowboys, however long ago, when he was visibly hurt. Like his shoulder was
yeah.
clearly ailing him, and then he still ended up leading a game-winning drive,
And I think that's the thing that's been catching him as of late. That shoulder injury, he's been dealing with that. And at the quarterback position, that's a hard thing to deal with because
especially on his throwing
yeah,
shoulder.
it's on your throwing shoulder. I mean, that's what you're using to throw the ball. It's a big part of the game. And he always had a strong arm. I think that was part of his game. I don't think he was per se just a finesse type guy. I mean, he could sling it out there, so it impacts him a lot. So yesterday we had the scouting combine. It started up. I believe it actually started on Wednesday.
Thursday
Well, I think
started yesterday.
well, yesterday was the actual workouts. I think Wednesday they started some of their meetings and starting to get some of the stuff in.
Maybe you might
So
be right.
maybe we'll see. So we're going to talk. Yesterday at the combine, they had the inside linebackers and edge guys, and then they had their defensive tackles come out and work out. So we're going to talk about that a little bit and see what we got. Right away, looking at the sheet, they're not really in any kind of order. So we have a lot of folks on there. Some of these folks I don't really know a whole lot about. I'm going to be honest. You see some folks from some smaller schools per se. UTEP is not a big school. Colorado State is a decent sized school. Kentucky sends one. Penn State. Anybody on this one? The article I was reading was talking about how this guy, the Tommy Eichenberg from Ohio State, didn't measure up what they thought he was going to. Didn't run his 40. We see a lot of guys that didn't per se run their 40. Some smaller inside linebackers, maybe some edgy kind of guys. Not really a lot of great 40s on this sheet that we're looking at. Nobody really
Well,
jumps
I
off.
mean, to be fair, 40 time isn't the most important for a defensive lineman
No.
slash linebacker. Like, obviously, it has its uses. I mean, being able to rush the passer with agility. That's obviously a very important trait. But, it's not the first thing you look at. The first thing you look at is probably bench press, which I don't know if they did yesterday.
I would think I would look at that as an interior lineman. That's something I'm going to value as a tackle. How much weight can you throw up, especially, and even for offensive linemen, that's something I want to see. Looking at our screen right here, I've highlighted one guy, this Javon Solomon from Troy. I don't really know a lot about him. You look at him, he got measured in at 6'1", 246, but the things that come out to me, he's got one of the highest verts of that group. Um, a really good broad, but he's got some huge hands
That
and big, long arms. So he had the longest arms out of that group and those big paws.
I personally haven't heard much of any of these guys, but I haven't studied who's in the draft and
Yeah.
who's not yet.
There's going to be
Um,
some other names later on that we've seen a little bit and can talk a little bit more. Let's kind of scroll down to our next group, and this is kind of where our next group starts. We have some more inside linebacker and edge guys. Just looking through the names, the one that pops out that I'd done some reading about, and I saw him play, and he did really good. Was Jared Verse from Florida State? Have you seen him play?
can't say I have. Although I did tune into a few Florida State games this year, so and their defensive line was pretty disruptive. I'm guessing he was a big part of it.
Yeah, he was one of the edge guys. The other one that they've talked about as being a big prospect is Chop Robinson out of Penn State, at almost 6'3", running a 4.48. That's
I
pretty
saw the
good.
4.48. I was like, man,
That
that's really good.
that's getting after it. And then you see the guy kind of I guess above him will be Dallas Turner running a 4.46. I mean that's pretty good wheels, and it's 6'2", almost 6'3". That's a good sized fella, and he's moving pretty fast.
I mean, that's something that scouts definitely look at. I mean, obviously, the combine isn't, what
Everything.
gauges, but it can definitely help you
Yeah.
move up or down the draft board.
Looks like Cedric Johnson out of Mississippi had a really good vert at 38, so showing some of that explosive things that you're looking for on his vert. And then we had some good broads, 10.2, and the guy we talked about before from Penn State with a 10'8" broad.
I think with his combine results, and I mean, there's still some pending. I mean, you still got the 3-cone drill. Not sure if they did the bench press. It's not showing it here on this graphic,
Yeah, I'm not sure if they did either. And I
but
and I don't know if the edge guys did the 3-cone. Maybe they're doing that today. But I think he has definitely helped himself. Just looking at numbers,
mhm.
good measurables. He has a respectable 40 time at 4.48. Not the blazing speed that we've seen from some other guys, but just good solid numbers that make you think he's going to pan out for you in the future. Um, the other one that we look to see is Jared Verse. I think he's going to pan out and do some good things just from what he's done at Florida State. And then also, looking at his numbers here from the combine. And however, we've seen some dudes that test really, really well,
Mhm,
but it
mhm.
doesn't always translate. John Ross is the one I think of that the Bengals
With
drafted.
the what 4.21?
4.2 or something, just blazing fast, but it just never translated for him for various reasons. He got banged up a little bit. The other prospect that I was reading about that had a good day is going to be this Jalix Hunt out of Houston Christian, at 6'4", 252. That's a pretty big fella. 4'6", not the best 40, but then we look at vert and broad. I mean, those are good numbers, 37.5 and 10'8".
Mhm. I think a big thing that is coming off the page to me is the 4.64 40 time. I think that's really good.
Yeah,
Shows that he has a lot of pursuit in his game, some speed too for
be able to run some
alignment.
folks down. He's a big boy.
No, he's obviously not the fastest. I mean, we talked about a 4.4, like a
Yeah,
4.8
I think we saw a
just a few
four.
minutes before.
Oh, yeah, Peyton Wilson from North Carolina State had the 4.43
Yeah,
there.
4.43. Like, I mean, 4.6 isn't the best
No,
time,
no,
but
it's about a step or two, but I think he's definitely going to get some interest, and that's a smaller school. You don't hear a lot about Houston Christian University.
the 40 time is all about getting the best jump.
Yeah, and that's what you can see some of that in that 10-yard split there. The other one that did really well, and I'm expecting a lot off of, and I think everyone else is too, is Laiatu Latu at UCLA. So do you know his background? Are you familiar with his story?
I am not.
So I believe he was at Washington, if I'm not mistaken. He had a neck injury, and the doctors wouldn't clear him for almost 2 years.
Hmm.
So transferred to UCLA, they cleared him, and I think he was all Pac-10, if I'm not mistaken. I think he got some other awards too. But he's a young man at 6'5" and 260. He's a big kid. 4.64. Again, we talked about not blazingly fast, but at that size and that frame, that's what you're looking for. Decent sized hands and a good range at
I mean, at the
34.25.
very least, these bigger guys can just be a numbers guy, just having, I mean, even like a depth piece at the
Yeah,
very least. And I mean, even just being a defensive tackle, just taking up
space.
other men. Like maybe you can take two men on one or something.
And I think with these guys, they're looking for some pass rushers here. Alatu's going to be an edge guy at 6'5" and some change. Looks like he was maybe the tallest edge guy that was out there. Uh,
Second round pick, you think?
well, they were talking about him being a first round pick for a while there. I mean, he did really good. He's got a great motor on him. We'll kind of see how he moved around in space. I haven't seen any of the videos yet, so we'll see what he does. So the ones that have improved their stock, Jalix Hunt, we talked about
Yep.
him. Latu, he improved his. Jared Verse, which I believe might have already been in consideration for a first round selection, so he kind of helped himself. Same for Latu. I think Hunt might have put himself on the radar for a lot of teams, having a very good showing out there from a small school. And then on the inside, we had our defensive tackles go, so we'll scroll down and take a look at them. And get one more, just one row. There we go. So we had them. They did the 3-cone drill. Looks like some of them opted out of it, but we did have a couple fellers that did the 3-cone drill. Um, just looking at our sheet right now, nobody really had a blazing 40 time, but for defensive tackle, I don't know if that's really.
No, I mean, as I said before, it's not the most important, but it is something to watch just with, how quickly you can rush the passer because the NFL is a lot quicker than
Yes.
college.
Yeah, that's the big change. The speed of the game is a big shift. Um, just looking at some numbers here, this Miles Cole from Texas Tech, that's a big feller at 6'6" and 278, almost 280. Running a 4.67, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good for a man of that size.
30,
Maybe needs to put on a few more pounds.
35-inch vert and a 10-foot broad. I mean, that's pretty good, and big long arms at 36.88. And that's what you're expecting on that 6'6" frame.
I mean, his weight isn't the most prevalent thing. I mean, I think he looks like he's about the lightest guy there
Yeah, I don't
from
know if
at first glance.
might be, maybe he's an edge guy. Trim a couple. What do you think? Trim a couple pounds off of him, and he's got the long arms
Maybe
and
you
the
can put
length.
him at either or.
Yeah,
Maybe he's versatile like that.
we'll kind of see how he looks moving around. We'll have to take a look at some of those videos, but very good numbers for him coming out. Just kind of scrolling through and looking at some other fellers that I've seen play. Braden Fisk is a motor guy. He was at I believe Central Michigan and then transferred to Florida State. So he put up some really good numbers. 6'3", 300 pounds, and again 478. Not the fastest, but good for what you're looking for at that frame. Scrolling through to see if we see any other names.
Byron Murphy, second.
Yeah, he had a good day. 6 foot, a little undersized at a true 6 foot and 297. So that might be a little bit of a hamper on him. He's a little undersized compared to some of these other interior guys. Looks like this guy's only about 6 foot as well. So a little bit on the short side. Let's see what else we have from our inside guys there. Uh, Looks like that's kind of the extent. Tavondre Sweat had a decent day. Nah, at 366, I mean, running a 5.27 ain't bad. At 366 pounds and 6'4", that's a lot of man to move around. There's been some bigger fellas that have ran a little bit better, but looking at everything he's got, I mean, hands at 10.13, that's what you want for an inside guy. Nice long arms at 33.25, and at 366 pounds, I don't think you're not gonna knock him off the ball.
No.
He's gonna be able to hang in there for a little bit and give you what you're looking for. So all some good things to see. Some good numbers that we have out there. And then so today, who do we have today for us, Eli?
I believe it's the cornerbacks and tight ends.
Okay. And I'll work on seeing if we can't oh see if we can't find
One important thing to note going into today,
yeah.
Kool-Aid McKinstry, the cornerback out of Alabama, I believe has a foot fracture.
Ooh.
So we'll see if that's gonna affect his draft stock going forward.
Yeah.
But I think the team getting him is gonna get an absolute stud.
I think he is too. I would agree with you on that. I think McKendry's going to be great. So we have some quarterbacks going tomorrow. We're not really going to talk too much about those guys. Well, let's talk about them while we're here. Jaden Daniels can run.
Yeah,
lightning quick, and he's going to be a tackle
Heisman
for
winner.
somebody. Yeah, he should have been. He was in the mix for it. Sure.
Drake May, looking like he might be going maybe number 2 overall. I think he's slightly lower than Jaden Daniels as of right now. As I've said, I haven't looked completely into it. Of course, Caleb Williams out of USC looking to be number 1 pick. We'll see what the Bears are going to do with that pick, whether they trade it away, keep it, trade Fields.
And yeah, we were talking about that before we got on the air of what the Bears are going to do. I don't know if there's not a right answer right now. In a couple years, there might be a right answer. Um, but I think Caleb Williams is going to be okay at that level. The other ones that kind of pop off the screen, guys that I've seen, Michael Penix has a great arm. Bo Nix has just won wherever he's been. I don't know if he's going to have that prototypical number one kind of guy, but I think he's gonna stick around the league at least as a backup for a while.
I think JJ McCarthy might be
Yeah,
a bit of a sleeper.
you think he can start for somebody? Or
I
you
think
think
maybe
he's
not right away.
he may
Maybe
need
not
a
right
while?
away. I think he might need a year or two, which is why I think a good team for him might be, say, a team with a veteran
That has him
quarterback.
to learn from. And Milton the third has,
Maybe if the Vikings keep Kirk Cousins around,
and
I could see him being a good fit there.
I think his game fits his a little bit, very similar. Milton the third, I believe, has a cannon for an arm. I haven't seen a whole lot of them. Sam Hartman has won a lot. I don't know if he's going to fit the prototypical mold of what they're looking for in the NFL. Um, we'll see. Spencer Rattler, great athlete that transferred out of Oklahoma. He had some up and down games at South Carolina. He'd look great, and then the next game it just wasn't really the same cat, you know. Let's get this here. Scroll down here at the running back level. Oh man, we got a bunch of folks. Blake Corum from Michigan had a great year.
Hmm.
There's some other fellows in there.
He'll
Frank,
probably be the first running back off the board
would,
for him.
I would think so. I like Bucky Irving from Oregon. He's really small, so that's going to be interesting to see how that's going to transition to the
Is he
NFL.
more of a receiving back?
He's a scat back. I mean, he can run. He's a little dude. I don't think he ain't 6 foot. He might be 5.
5'10.
Yeah, and some change, but he's lightning quick, and he's a guy that can accelerate on a dime.
So kind of like Devin Singletary, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. And you know, some of those other backs that Oregon has had before that were just lightning quick, he's kind of in that same mold as well. So if a team can figure out how to use him, maybe kickoff return, punt return, some jet sweeps, I mean, he's got the wheels to take it all the way.
I think one that jumps off the page to me is Frank Gore Jr.
I didn't. I
Of
had.
of course, son of Frank Gore, future Hall of Fame running back, 16,000 rushing yards. I think, obviously he'll not only be learning from his running back coaches, but I'm I'm sure his dad will help tutor him at least a little bit.
I tell you what, Frank Gore was kind of underrated. I think a little bit when he was playing, but he played for a long
He
time,
did
and
play for a long while.
he was consistent.
He
He's going to get you what you want. He's gonna give you everything he's got.
I remember watching him bulldoze absolutely everything in his path, and it was so fun to watch.
He was a load to carry. He had a great career at Miami. That's how old I am. I remember watching him play at Miami, and he did great down there. So yeah, it was good to see him going, and he had a really long career, just finding different places to fit in.
Like 16 years or something
Yeah,
like
we'll,
that.
we'll have to check on that one and kind of see what how long that was. But yeah, he had a great year. Um, so we see a kid from Monmouth, a one AA school. So it's nice to see some of those smaller schools getting a shot. The one that kind of that I've seen play is Will Shipley from Clemson. And you know, no offense to anything or anybody, but it's interesting because Will Shipley is Caucasian. You don't really see a lot of white running backs getting that opportunity to get in there and be able to showcase what they can do. So good for him to go out there. Hopefully, he can find a team to latch onto. He's very athletic and can do some good things with the ball in his hand. Receivers, we got the first picture there, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Hmm.
We all assume he's going to be the first,
First receiver
the first
going.
receiver off the board.
I could see him going number 4 to the Cardinals. Is that what pick they have?
I think so, and they need some
But
help.
but I also wouldn't be shocked if the Patriots maybe shocked the world and took a
Try
receiver.
to get up there and get him. The other one that people are expecting a lot of good things out of is Malik Neighbors from LSU. He did some great things down there. He is athletic and he's pretty quick. I've heard a lot of people talking about Rome Odunze from Washington. He had a good career up there. Just kind of scrolling through and see if anybody jumps off right away. And
Not.
no,
Um,
nobody's really jumping off the board that I remember watching. Oh, this guy, Johnny Wilson. He's 6'7", I think,
he's a big dude. Yeah.
6'7". I'm curious to see what he's gonna measure at on an official thing and how he moves
We'll
around.
find out tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah,
Or yeah, tomorrow.
yeah. I think the receivers are tomorrow, but he's just a big. He's a grown man out there. At the tight ends, what do you think about Brock Bowers? You think he's gonna pan out at the
I think
NFL?
he's gonna go to the Chargers.
You think he's gonna pan out? He's not really an inline kind of tight end blocking guy.
No, but he's definitely a receiver, and that's kind of what the Chargers are gonna be wanting. I
Yeah.
think because I think what's gonna happen is they're gonna cut Mike Williams at some point.
Okay.
Uh, because I mean, here's the thing: they want to trust Quentin Johnston, but he hasn't been great.
He hasn't panned out
He hasn't.
entirely yet. And
He
he
hasn't.
had a really good career at TCU. I thought he was going to be good for them because he's a big target.
But unfortunately, it just hasn't
Hasn't
worked
panned
out
out for
so
him.
far. I mean, it's only 1 year in his career, so we'll see if
Yeah.
he can pick up the pace a bit. Keenan Allen isn't getting any younger.
No. And
Mike Williams, I mean, he's, I think, 29, 30.
I think he's not been a flop per se, but I don't think
No, he hasn't been
he's
the fifth overall pick or whatever they
yeah,
drafted
he's
him
not
at.
reached that number one receiver
He's a
status.
great receiver, but just not what they hoped for at a fifth overall.
Yeah, so we'll see. Not a lot of tight ends really on the board. Um,
But I think Brock Bowers is going to be an LA Charger at some point.
he's definitely a top pick, and that's interesting because you have your Michigan man now, or former Michigan man, leading the Chargers. So we'll see which way he wants to go. Offensive lineman, you know what? I don't think anybody. Well, there are folks that know the linemen really good, but I don't think most of the common football fans know a whole lot about many of these linemen. Um, Smaller school, Howard, Division One AA. So hopefully they can. And there's a local guy for us, Eastern Kentucky. So it's nice to see someone from our neck of the woods getting a shot to go
So
play in
what you're saying is that I have a chance?
the combine. You might have a chance. I think most of these fellers probably got a couple inches on you, and at least 10 to 15 to 100 pounds, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, you might have a chance. So we'll kind of see how they do. But there's a lot of linemen out there. I have heard about the kid from Oklahoma State, and I cannot remember his name, but they said he was a mountain of a
I
man.
think he was up
Is he up a
further.
little higher? That's the one I hear them talking about, or Oregon State. Yeah, this Taliasi Fuaga. If I'm not mistaken, in his 4-year career, he gave up 0 sacks.
That's really good.
So he is a mountain of a man and a very large
I'm
individual.
interested to see his measurements.
Yeah, we'll see how he does. Some of these other guys, I'm curious to see how they get what their official measurements are.
I've heard about one guy. I don't remember his name.
Hmm.
It's
Remember what it's like?
slipping. Uh, none of those ring a bell. I don't remember.
Yeah, we'll maybe come back to that one next week when we have our recap of the combine. So lots of linemen out there, and teams are always needing linemen. Defensive linemen. So this is one of the guys we talked about earlier, number 55. I
Yep.
believe that's Fisk from Florida State. I think that's him. So he had a really good career. Transferred down from I think Central Michigan or Western Michigan. I believe Western, and just had a great season at Florida State. He's got a motor on him and the kind of things you're looking for. We already talked about some of these guys because they've already tested a little bit. So we'll kind of scroll through them. Linebackers, we already talked about these guys. They tested yesterday, so we got to visit on them a little bit. And then our defensive backs. All right, who do you think's first off the board as a defensive back?
Originally, I was gonna say arguably Kool-Aid,
Yeah.
but I think he's now gonna slip to the second
Okay.
because of that foot fracture.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt him a little bit
I
trying
think
to move
that'll
around.
definitely hurt his draft stock. Apparently, he should
There's
be
our
ready to go
Kool-Aid.
for training camp.
We'll have to do some more research on some of these folks to see. A lot of names in there. A lot of DBs are going to be out there. A lot of people shooting for a chance and opportunity. I'll have to do some more research. Nobody's really jumping off today. It's been a the specialists. We got some kickers.
Ah, we can't forget
There
them.
you go. Look at that. Kickers and punters in the mix. Hey, you got to give love to the kickers and punters. They keep your team going.
What about the long snappers?
I don't know if they have them at the combine. I think I've heard this guy before. I've seen a couple Alabama games. He's pretty good. Look at that. Stanford. Hopefully he's smart. So there's our workout times, and this is kind of what we were talking about. So today, Friday, March 1st, you're going to have the DBs and the tight ends going to start their workout at 3. Saturday, quarterback, running backs, and wide receivers. I think that's the one that a lot of people want to watch
Yep.
because you're seeing some receivers catch some balls, running backs moving around, quarterbacks throwing, just to kind of see how they move around. DBs and tight ends are fun to watch. Get to see some DBs moving in space. They do some drills. Tight ends we're going to see catch the ball. We expect to see Brock Bowers have a really
Yep.
good day catching. There's some guys that are going to be a little bigger and taller.
I'm just waiting for Rich Eisen to do the 40-yard dash.
Oh, yeah, that'll be coming up soon, huh? Run, Rich, run. Well,
Mhm.
good luck to you, Mr. Eisen, if you're watching in your Run, Rich, run.
Please sponsor us.
Yeah, give us a shot, man. We'll put your logo on here, no big deal. And then on Sunday we have the offensive linemen, so there's going to be some big folks in that group, and the buffet I'm sure will be taking a hurting one of those days. So we have our drills. Doesn't look like, oh yeah, they do have bench press.
Yep.
So I don't know why we didn't get those results. We have to check on that for next time. But yeah, folks, it's like I said, it's just me and Eli today, so it was a little shorter on the skeleton crew. I think that's about all we got for you for today. Anything else, Eli?
Nothing I can think of off the top of my head.
What's going on in the world of the NHL? How's hockey looking?
It's getting competitive. I'll
Yeah,
say that much.
getting closer to playoffs and Stanley Cup time, huh?
Want to pull up some of the standings for our
Baseball's
NHL
baseball's right around
audience out there?
baseball's right around the corner, if I'm not mistaken. Is
Yep.
that correct?
Yep. Spring training is underway.
Spring training's underway. I've seen the Reds have played a couple times. I don't know if they've done miraculously well, but I know they've played a couple times. Haven't been able to catch up on any scores.
No, the Pirates certainly haven't been doing well. Although Paul Skeens looked great yesterday.
Yeah.
He threw total of 10 pitches. He got 3 outs in the inning.
Hey,
4 of them went over triple digits.
can't beat that. Can't beat that. A little hockey time for the folks before we get out of here today. It looks like the Panthers are playing well in Boston Bruins.
Mm-hmm.
We've kind of
Yep,
seen
that division is neck and neck.
we've seen that over the last couple years. It looks like Tampa Bay's a little down from years past.
Mm-hmm. I think it's just a mixture of them getting older and just how much hockey they've played recently. I
Yeah.
mean,
That catches up with you. You play too many games, and that can be a
fatigue is a real factor.
yeah. In the Metropolitan Division,
Mm-hmm.
Rangers playing well.
Yep.
Hurricanes playing well. I think everyone kind of expected them to
Yep.
be in the mix. Just not working out for the
I'm
Canucks
honestly
tonight.
surprised the Hurricanes are doing as well as they've been doing because their goaltending is horrible.
Really?
It's really bad. Frederick Anderson has been hurt. Antti Ranta has not been great.
Yeah.
And then Peter Kochetkov has been in and out of the AHL.
They must be scoring some points then.
Mm-hmm.
So they must have some good scores. Doesn't look like anybody else is really doing great. Unfortunately, I don't think it's a year for your Penguins, huh?
Yeah, it's a really tough conference. I mean, no one really expected the Flyers to do well, yet here we are. They're sitting in third place in the Metropolitan in a playoff spot.
Yep.
I want to cry.
Yeah, I don't think
Right now, the Penguins, the main problem for the Penguins right now is team defense in their power play. Their special teams have not been great.
you think the Penguins got a chance to get into the playoffs.
I think they have a chance, especially if the goaltending keeps playing as well as they have been.
Yeah.
Both Tristan Jarry and Alex Nedeljkovic have been great this season. It's just mainly the defense and special teams.
Just not picking it up there.
Mm-mm.
All right. In the Western Conference, Dallas Stars. I think they've been doing pretty well over the last.
They were
couple years.
my Stanley Cup favorites this year.
Yeah.
I had them winning it all.
Okay. Avalanche
and-
are doing well.
hmm Winnipeg Jets still doing all right.
Yeah, they're hanging in
Connor
there.
Hellebuck, looking like he's gonna win the Vezina Trophy. Best goaltender.
What happened with the Blackhawks? Just not there. They got the young kid, right?
Yep, Connor Bedard. It was never going to be their year. Bedard got hurt with a fractured jaw earlier in the year. It was never going to happen this year.
How many games did Bedard get in before he got hurt?
He got in quite a few. I think he got in like 35,
He was
somewhere
looking
around there.
pretty good, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and
for a rookie.
he's back playing now.
Okay.
He's
Is he-
back playing now, and he's scoring.
Okay. Well, good. Good. I'm glad to see that he's back out on the field there, or not the field, the ice,
There you go.
the rink. In the Pacific Division, Canucks.
Yep,
That's kind of a
Canucks.
surprise for me. I don't follow hockey a lot, but I know I haven't seen them up towards the
Look,
top.
the problem with the Canucks last year is that everything went wrong.
Yeah.
Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. Thatcher Demko was not. He was Swiss cheese. He was letting pucks in left and right. But this year he's been great. Elias Pettersson is gonna get a mega deal soon.
Good.
Vegas Golden Knights, reigning Stanley Cup
Hey,
champions.
they're
Maybe not what they were last year.
no, I don't think those scores are as good as some that we've talked about previously.
I don't think the goaltending has been as great, but
And,
it's been certainly okay.
and it doesn't look like my Kraken are faring too well this year.
It's mainly been depth scoring for them.
Yeah, and the Sharks are just having a hard time figuring it out. So
Sharks, I don't think are going to do great.
looks like you got the Sharks at 15 wins. 15 wins. That's probably the lowest, huh, of anybody.
Hmm.
Yep, that's not a good scenario for either one of those two teams to be.
Yeah, one of them is going to end up getting the first pick. It's just a matter of who.
Let's see if we got any spring training. Let's see what's going on there. In the Cactus League. Looks like Texas is playing well at 5-1.
I mean, again, it's spring training.
Yeah,
You
not a
mainly
lot.
want to look at the young guys, see what you have in the minors.
Not a lot you can take from spring training standings, but and not a lot you can take from the games, but hopefully they'll do well. Hopefully the Giants can find their way to a victory at 0-4. Um, that's not really what you're looking for. They spent some dollars and got some free agents,
Yep.
so I think they'd like to see a little bit
You
better.
got anything on the Reds for us?
I have not got a chance to sit down and watch any of their games, to be honest with you. How's your you watch any of your Pittsburgh?
I haven't had a chance to watch them, but I have been paying attention. As I said, Paul Skeens, first overall pick last year, threw 10 pitches yesterday, got 3 outs in the first inning.
Good.
4 of his pitches clocked over 100.
Ooh,
Mm-hmm.
that's something that the Pirates haven't had in a long time.
Oh, tell me about it.
How,
Well, they recently re-signed Mitch Keller to a 5-year deal.
yeah,
So,
it's been a while since I think they had like a true ace that you could say this,
yep.
this dude could be a number one
Garrett Cole
anywhere.
was really the last one, but he didn't pan out in Pittsburgh, and then he ended up getting
Getting all the
shipped
big
off
money.
to the Astros, and look where we are now. He's arguably the best pitcher in the league.
It's the black hole that is PNC Park for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
I hate them so much. Please sell the team.
They'll get it figured out, man. I think with them, it's kind of similar to what the Reds are dealing with. I don't think they really want to spend a lot of money,
No.
and you get what you pay for at this level. If you're not going
Yep.
to pay for talent, you better hit it big. I think the other thing that really hurt your Pirates last year was losing O'Neill
Yeah.
Cruz.
Him being out for the season definitely didn't help. But we had a couple of young guys step up in the shortstop position. But it was never the same with having the 6'7"
Yeah, he's a
beast.
huge dude, and he can run, he can hit. I mean, he can do everything you want.
Yep.
Is he back? Are they leaving him at shortstop or?
Yeah, he's playing shortstop.
Okay.
I think I saw he got a single RBI yesterday.
Good.
Something like that.
Now, interesting that you're a Pirates fan and I'm a Reds fan. And if I'm not mistaken, they moved Ellie De La Cruz to shortstop, who looks a lot like
Mhm.
O'Neill Cruz.
Yep.
They play kind of the same.
I think they're both 6'7", both from the Dominican Republic. They're scary similarities.
Yeah, they're both very athletic. I know De La Cruz has a cannon for an arm, and I'm pretty sure O'Neill does too. They can both hit and run. So exciting for the Central Division if they can stay healthy. I think that's good for both of those teams, and they're going to play a lot, and that's a good situation for them to be in. So let's see what we got coming up today. Oh, that's Thursday. So, oh, yep. Look, there's been a lot of high scoring games. You look
Well, it's spring
12 to
training.
9,
It's
10-9.
I mean, it's a lot of young guys.
Got some pitchers out there that might not be
Yeah.
real sure about
Pitchers
themselves.
are trying to get back in the groove of things.
Looks like we got some games coming up on Saturday. I tell you what, that's a high price for a spring training game,
Yep.
$38. Shots out to ESPN for helping us out today with our graphics. I was a little lazy.
Please sponsor us.
You can sponsor us too. We will take it. Look at that. San Diego at San Francisco, $49 for a game in spring training.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Oracle Park, very nice place.
Great setup, but man, that's a little pricey for spring training. And then you see Washington at Boston for $7. I think I got 7. I can go to that game.
All right, you and me, we take a plane there.
Let's take the company jet. We'll take the OCHS live jet.
There we
down.
go. Yeah, with all the money we have laying
Maybe
around.
maybe they'll let us do some streaming and color commentary for the Washington and Boston. Red Sox, let us know if you want us to come down for a game.
We'll do it.
We're free, man.
We'll do it.
I can come up to Boston this summer if you guys are feeling that.
I have nothing better to do.
Maybe they're playing Pittsburgh and we can come up for the series.
Well, yeah, there we
Why
go.
don't you reach out to the Pirates
There we
and see
go.
what they say about that? Well, folks, I think that's going to be it for today. We've taken up enough of your time. So, as always, thank you for joining